This is Mellissa Thomas with Florida National News. We are here at the L. Claudia Allen Senior Center in Washington Shores for what is going to be a town hall with our Florida state and local elected officials from the African American, the Black Caucus to be specific, the Democratic Black Caucus. So there will be 6 panelists that will include State Senator Randolph Bracy, State Representatives Kamia Brown and Bruce Antone, our Orange County Vice Mayor and Commissioner Victoria Siplin, and our Orlando City Commissioners Regina Hill and Sam Ings. They'll be answering questions from constituents here in this town hall. It promises to be a full house this evening. This is a well-polished facility, so these guys will be coming and looking forward to addressing their elected officials and asking very important questions. Stay tuned right here for remarks from the elected officials. My advice, I guess, for a young African-American politician, one is just to be knowledgeable about the issues and find something you're passionate about. I don't know if the question was in reference to running for office, but if that is, I think the best way to understand the campaign side of it is to get involved in a campaign. That's how I started in politics. I worked on a campaign and learned the basics of running a campaign. So if you're talking about getting into it, that's what I would recommend. But if you want to talk about being respected, I think it's important to be knowledgeable about the issues and find what you're passionate about and go down that path.
I want everybody to answer that, because that's a good question.
Good evening, everyone. I'm oh, you have my name tag here. Just to piggyback off of Senator Bracy, definitely it's important to follow your passion, because that's what's going to take you through. And in order for you to be successful, it definitely has to be passion driven. But also I would say is to learn what that position, if you're looking to run for office, know what that position does as it relates to knowing the difference between state, local, and federal level, and what issues they deal with. It's very important to know that and make sure you have a hand on the community in which you wish to serve. So whether that's an investment of living in that community, volunteering within that community, sitting on boards, or what have you, but definitely having a hand on that community and making sure that community knows you and know that you would be great to represent them.
This is something we've been struggling with for a while, and that's Florida's decision not to participate in Medicaid expansion. That came down years ago. What are the plans to support medical services in the state? Obamacare, what's going to happen next?
Oh, wow, interesting question. Well, a couple of years ago, about 3 sessions ago, 3 or 4 sessions ago, President Obama offered the state of Florida $50 billion to expand Medicaid. And so that would provide additional Medicaid services to the elderly, the young people, low-income families, or what have you. That was a hard-fought battle. I know as Democrats, every day we were talking to the Republican leadership, we were talking to our Republican colleagues, trying to convince them that expanding Medicaid was the best thing that we could do in Florida. Again, President Obama, through Obamacare, was offering $50 billion for the state of Florida to expand Medicaid. And for whatever reason, they decided not to expand Medicaid. And I think that was just a bad decision. And so as we approach this next election, and we have a new governor, hopefully we'll have a new governor that will have an open mind, that will be willing to work with the federal government and to take whatever additional dollars that we can get to expand Medicaid. On the local level, I do workshops. I do a caregivers workshop every year. What do you do when you become the caregiver for your loved one? We do constituent services. We've worked with some housing complexes around here that have had mold issues, bed bug issues, and these are housing complexes that deal with senior citizens. And then my 2 staff people, Carolyn Austin and Pamela Newton, they go out to all the homeowner meetings, they go to the Senior Resource Alliance meetings, things of that nature. And we try to do whatever we can to help them, to connect them with additional resources. And then one important issue was last year before, the Washington Shores community. The post office wanted to take away their delivery at their homes. And so they had set up all these rack mailboxes up on the corner. So you had 70 and 80-year-old folks in this community having to walk a block, 2 blocks to get their mail. And I see the stop sign. But real quickly, we worked with Senator Nelson, we worked with Congresswoman Corrine Brown, and we were able to reverse that decision and get the U.S. Postal Service to begin delivering the mail back to their individual residences.
So just to address the health care issue, Medicaid expansion obviously was a political decision by the Republicans because it was an initiative sponsored by President Obama, and therefore we couldn't pull down those federal dollars. But what I tried to do this year was to fight for more money for like our community health centers that service our people. And we were able to do some of that, provide a little bit more funding for emergency services. And so in a way we could still help our people get the necessary health care. Our office has also sponsored health care events in our community, just informing people about getting the necessary health care that they need. We've done community training for seniors. Some other things that we have worked on in Tallahassee, dealing with nursing homes. If you remember, the nursing homes were not kind to some seniors during the hurricanes, and so we tried to buckle down on the regulatory framework for the nursing homes to make sure that our seniors are taken care of. So generators, requiring that these nursing homes have generators. So that is something that we did work on in Tallahassee. But also, again, during the hurricane, our office, through Second Harvest, was able to provide food, and we continue to serve our seniors in that way.
They were really good questions. They were well thought out. I mean, there's a lot of concern in our communities on a range of issues. You heard, you know, the school to prison pipeline. You heard questions about, you know, gun violence in our communities. You know, water issues. I mean, the list goes on. And so I'm glad that we were here to address those concerns. Sometimes it's difficult to get us all in one room, and so I think it was really well, and especially the cross section with local government and state government, and see how we work in tandem on some of these issues that are concerns. Everyone's just got to tell their friends, their family to vote. I mean, that's really how we're going to make a difference and make our impact known. I gave the example tonight about the Parkland students and how they were able to affect the legislature and make us pass a gun control piece of legislation that we haven't done in over 20 plus years. But because they came to Tallahassee, they organized, it made a difference. And so I think we all have to do that to a certain extent, make our presence known so that, you know, we get the right people in office.
This was the first time that you had all of the local elected African-American officials here. So folk got a chance to see each one of us, to hear each one of us talk, to get a better understanding of our personalities, what our priorities were. I thought it was just a great start, and we need more meetings like this. I thought we just wanted to get information out. I know for me personally, I was just trying to share a whole lot of information in too short a period of time. But again, I try to just be honest with folks. I try to just tell it like it is. And I think they'll just try to do the same thing as well.
Well, definitely, I was elated to basically look out into the crowd and see that it was a full house. Many times we host these town halls, the message gets out there, however the people don't come. So I was very happy to see everyone here, everybody engaged, and really asking some questions that are really pertinent and important to our community.
And just real quick for our audience, there was one that you guys got very passionate about in terms of the bullying initiative. So kind of talk to our audience about that.
So the House Bill 1, which was the bullying scholarship or the HOPE scholarship, to me the bill provides, or that piece of legislation does not provide hope. The thing is it expands into an additional voucher program to, again, take money away from dealing with improving our public school system. And so, again, as he mentioned tonight, majority of the African Americans within the Black Caucus of the legislature were adamantly opposed to that bill. You know, we prefer to see some issues that really deal with the issue, providing prevention programs within our schools, also providing additional dollars for our Safe Schools program, which is not fully funded. It has not received adequate funding in over 8 years. And so we would love to see that, and then also working with our school districts to make sure we do what's best for our children and provide a safe but also fun working in an educational environment.
I think it's always important for us to be not only responsive to our constituents, but also be available to them. And so, whenever you can come out to an excited group who, they really want to know what's going on in their community, I find that amazing. So, this event was great. It was a great town hall meeting. So much information was provided, and I know we had a stack of questions still left that we did not get to, but I think all of us as representatives were able to give the constituents, our residents, our contact information, so we are able to address any other issues or questions they might have.
Well, I think they were some amazing questions. They were real questions that the community wanted answers for when it came to budgeting, when it came to gun violence, when it came to actually street cleaning, right? So I think the community was engaged. It was a great showing of constituents that came out. The Deltas did an amazing job facilitating this event along with NAACP.
Well, this was great, especially the turnout of the people, the community, and so we saw a lot of support. And then, of course, our local elected officials, our black state representatives, our black county commissioner, our black city commissioners. So this was very powerful in that the knowledge that all of those elected officials had that they were giving out to the people. So they were being very respectful and also responsible to the people and making sure that they were well informed.
Awesome. And how did it feel to host one that town hall this profound in your district? How does that feel?
Oh, now that felt great. That was fantastic. And we really appreciate the Delta Sigma Theta Orange County Alumni Chapter, as well as the NAACP for really putting this together, and we showing our support for them.
We just wrapped up the town hall. We just heard from all 6 panelists that work here, all elected officials. We heard from State Representatives Bruce Antone and Kamia Brown. We heard from State Senator Randolph Bracy, as well as our local elected officials, Orange County Vice Mayor and Commissioner Victoria Siplin, and Orlando City Commissioners Regina Hill and Sam Ings. They all answered a host of questions tonight, many of which did not get answered, but for the ones that they were able to address, they addressed issues of gun violence, bullying, they answered issues of even environmental issues within the city, especially within the underserved communities, and many more questions such as that. But stay tuned right here at FloridaNationalNews.com for our continuing FNN Politics and Power coverage. This is Mellissa Thomas coming to you from Washington Shores.